Hi there, Sam here from Future Riders. Today we've got the A20 Pro with us and we're going to do a short video on how to remove the rear wheel. First things first, you're going to need a 19mm spanner, you're going to need a pair of side cutters, a couple of zip ties, 5mm Allen key, a 4mm Allen key and a 10mm spanner. Let's get to it. One of the first things we've got to do to remove the rear wheel is disconnect the motor from the bike itself. So on the right side, the lower half of the right side of the swing arm, you'll see a cable running from the bike to the motor. On here, you'll see two zip ties. So the first things we've got to do is cut those zip ties and disconnect this cable. You'll see two arrows. So this is also important to take notice for obviously when you're putting it back together as well. Those arrows must be lined up. When you disconnect, obviously you don't want to bend any of these and you want to ensure that each one goes into its right place. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab a 19mm spanner, just going to crack these rear axles off. You can actually remove both of these as well. Same on the other side. And put those to one side. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab a 5mm Allen key. We're going to remove the rear caliper. So you've got the caliper mounting bracket. It's also a good idea, make sure that nobody pulls the rear brake while you're doing this, because obviously what you don't want to happen is for the pads to clamp together. So we're just going to move that out of the way, drop that down there for now. And then you need to grab a 10mm spanner, open end, and you'll see at the back of this 5mm here, there's a little 10mm nut. It can be a little bit fiddly to put back on, just for where it's situated. It's also a good idea to just note the position of the nut and bolt, because it can slide forward or backwards depending on where you want it to be. The good thing about it is it tends to leave a mark so you can see where the nut sat in the first place. So once that's out, you'll now see that everything here is now loose, because this is actually connected to the axle. So now the rear wheel's ready to come off. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this caliper out of the way, come behind the bike, and there we go, we're out. So now obviously what you can do, you can obviously change your tyre, change your inner tube, repair a puncture, whatever you also need to do while you're going along. So once you've done whatever you need to do regarding the rear wheel, time to put the wheel back on. Now you'll notice on the rear axle, there are two flat-sided parts of the axle. Now these will only go in one way. So put that in. Don't worry about the position of this at the moment, because that will obviously slide round. We'll put that back in place in a minute. Just try and find roughly where it was before. Doesn't matter too much at this point. Pull that back round there. So I know now, I've just noticed that I've put this in incorrectly. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn that round, flick, hit the over, and just put that back into place. The reason I knew that was because the motor cable was facing upwards, which meant there was a little bit of tension on it when obviously trying to guide it round to this side here. So once we've got the wheel back in place, what we're going to do, I'm going to remove the caliper just down there, and then we're going to mount the caliper bracket back in place. So we're going to use, you'll have three bolts left over. You're going to use the longest one, and you also, this one down here is going to use this 10mm nut. Now it can be a little bit fiddly, but if you just get to the right eye level, you can see the nut. Once you've got it started, it makes it really easy. Get your 10mm spanner, your 5mm Allen key, and I'm just going to nip that up, because I feel like Yep, the wheel is just a little bit too far back. Okay. So, next job, let's get the caliper on. It should slide on nice and easy. And there's a longer one at the front. Shorter one at the rear. Now you can nip these up fully into place because that's going to hold the caliper in place. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to line everything up. It's a good idea to come to the back of the bike and just ensure that the wheel is sat square in the frame. So once you've checked that, come round, you can bolt this up now. We know that's going to be in the correct position. I've missed the bolt, there we go. Tighten that up. And then we've got washer. And then same on the other side as well. Once you're happy that the wheel's in and sat true, just nip that up. Same on the other side. Done. So now we've come over to the right side of the bike. What we're going to do, we're going to connect the motor back up. Now, it's important just to take your time here. So there's an arrow on the cable coming from the motor, and then on the cable coming from the frame or the controller, you'll also see another arrow. Now, just before you go pushing in too hard or too quick, just make sure both arrows are lined up. Take your time, just pop that in there. Perfect. So that's all done. So now we just need to zip tie that back on. Got two little zip ties here. Unfortunately, the bike doesn't come with any spare of those, but you can get them from anywhere, you know, any local hardware store, or I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. Put those back in place. Perfect. I'll just cut those off to make it neat. Done. So final check, we're just going to turn the bike on, make sure the throttle works, and then we're also going to test the rear brake as well. Both working. Perfect. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Hope that makes it easier for you to change the rear wheel or get the rear wheel off, for example. If there's any more questions or there's any other videos that you'd like to see, please get in contact with us. There's going to be a range of videos for every brand that we offer. Anything from how to change a throttle, how to change a rear wheel, anything like that. But anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.